Sorry, you're all going to get a message now. Sorry about that. My last 2 meetings that we've done, even our year-end banquet, I mean, we were all on live, but I forgot to record it. We just got talking and being silly, and I was like, no. Oh, well, so that's how it goes. Okay, well, if you're all good with it, Ashley, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we are loving I love everything about September. I don't know what it is about September, but I thought Christmas was my favorite month, December, but even with the weather changing a little bit, like I just get so happy. I don't know what it is. September 1st hits, I'm like, oh, it's like I don't know. But we have some really big things in our business to be excited about, right? I cannot even believe what's happening for us. And we have some high power achievers on here. And I'm loving these lunch and learns. We will record them. I usually send it to my tech girl and then she puts it on YouTube because God knows I don't know how to do that. So I'll send the recording. Okay. And then when she gets it to me in a few days, usually, well, probably over the weekend, I'll have the YouTube of what Ashley's doing. Because I know some of you people won't type in the code and won't do Zoom or any of that kind of stuff. So the YouTube works better. And we will have both, just so you know. Okay. We have the honor and the privilege to have the beautiful Ashley Clinesmith. Powerhouse. She's been on multiple trips. Ashley, I look at your Facebook every day because one, your kids are hysterical. And I love seeing everything that's happening. I think I told you at the banquet, I love watching your last year. It just looks so peaceful, so calm, and so happy, and celebrating different things in your life. And I love that. It just warms my heart. But I'm telling you, ladies, Ashley is the cream of the crop, top of the top. She knows it all. She's done it all. You name it in this company, other than not a national yet. That's the only thing this girl probably hasn't accomplished. And we have the honor and privilege to have her, and my good friend. We got to go to New York together. We're in the same national area, so we've had the privilege of doing a lot of things together. But I'm telling you, to start September off with a bang, you're hearing from the best of how to do it. No one strategizes as good as Ashley. Like, she thinks of everything. And friend, I love you. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And this is going to go everywhere. I mean, anywhere you all saw this is where you'll find the recording. And I tell everybody when they teach, I'm like, I don't know. I put it out there to everybody and then they send it on. So yes, next is Million Megan. I love seeing that. Yay! Revving up for big things. So Ashley, I'm going to let you take it away, my friend.
Thanks, Jenny. Oh my gosh, you guys. So, I'm so grateful for Jenny. We've been power partners from afar, and she's much better at sending letters than I am. Like, I'll just get this surprise little note and she scribbles in it, thinking about you, love you. And I think I have every single one in a pile of, where you tuck those precious little special things. But I don't know how many of you know this, but Jenny's song is that song. Is it, it's Champion. Is that Christina Aguilera? Anyway.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, it's from Carrie Underwood.
Carrie Underwood. Okay. So I was like, that doesn't sound right, but she can dance to that. She's got some moves and she is a champion. And this consistency of this lunch and learn, I know that's made an impact in many of your lives. And I'm just so grateful I get to participate today. It falls at the same time as my meeting. And so when she asked me a couple different times, it just didn't work. And finally I said, listen, I'll make it work. But that was, 6 weeks out. So, this is a great time to meet. This is when my people meet. So you said a couple of things I added to my notes. My sweet little Isley, my kids have been in school for 3 weeks and I have gone to pick each of them up once. I just got a call that Isley got hit in the head with a ball and I need to come get her. And the secretary said she's good enough to go back to class. I just want you to know that. It's like, okay. But the other day she wrote a note to a kid in her class that called her a loser. And he didn't mean it derogatory. He meant it like in a loving, you're a loser and you're my friend. It was a, a boy thing. And she came home and probably wrote him a letter. And she said, please don't call me that. I am many things. I'm kind, safe, truthful, a good friend, but I am not a loser. She put it in her purse and took it to school, and that was that. So girl knows what she wants, and she can put it in writing too. I think she'll write books. So and Jenny, you said something about strategy. Here is why I strategize, you guys. Have you ever been in a position, senior, red, team leader, and then you wake up, it's a new month, and you're not that position anymore? Oh my gosh. So I had this happen one time with a pink Cadillac. They delivered it. I actually did not know I was getting a pink Cadillac. I love what we do so much that I was just working really hard. I got a call that this pink Cadillac was going to be delivered. And I thought, whoa. And so I promptly picked it up, drove it, and did the exact same thing. I unearned it without knowing. And so I decided that strategy was going to be an important part of my business. And I have Mary Kay's autobiography right here. I just want to tell you that I'm in chapter 9. If you have not read this book, pick it up today. Start reading. It's a very easy read. She's hilarious. And I read this for the first time in 4th grade. I started writing Mary Kay when I was a little girl. She always wrote me back. She always sent me a picture. She sent me a check one time for a mission trip I was going on. She was like my aunt. And I felt like I knew her like Ryan Rogers knows her. But I started reading this again with my unit this summer. And I thought, how do I not know these stories? Like, how do I not know them? I've read this a couple times. So at the beginning of chapter 9, she says, do you know how a Mary Kay consultant calls her family to dinner? Come on, kids, let's get in the car. Do you know how a Mary Kay director, what a Mary Kay director makes for her family's Sunday dinner? Reservations. So true, right? Okay, and then this is a tangent, but you guys, this new lip stuff that you can order this month, it's my new favorite. The lip oil. I know we're not talking about products, but I just have to tell you, this is my new favorite color. Like, favorite. I'll put the lip oil on in a minute so you can see what it looks like. Start telling your customers that like the lip kits about these colors because they are awesome. I have on the rose pink. There's also a cinnamon. Okay, so, Jenny mentioned about the fun. If you know anything about Enneagram, I am a 3 on the Enneagram, and a 3 is an achiever and a performer. And we all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our sin nature. And I have to tell you guys, this might be the most nervous I've ever been to speak because it's a different conversation that I typically have from the Mary Kay podium. But I've just learned so much about myself. And my friend told me one day, you don't learn about you so that you can change you. You learn about you so that you can take your God-given talents and press into them. And so about 2 years ago, God started doing a work on me. And it happened to be with the pace of my life. The pace of my life was Mach speed. I operated in 2 places, overdrive or park. Partially because I'm an introvert, I process by myself, and introverts love to be alone. So parked is alone and overdrive is alone because no one can keep up with you in overdrive. Hey, okay, so you guys, Pam and Nicole, I'm so glad you're here. Can you girls mute because there's some feedback that I'm getting and you're the only 2 that are not muted. Or Jenny, can you mute? Oh, perfect, thanks you guys. And I'm in a huge room, so I just didn't want you guys to have feedback. But anyway, so pace, and it was almost like a free fall. It was like learning how to walk again. And Jenny and I talked about this on the Alaskan cruise. We were actually walking the streets of Vancouver, and I was telling her, God's doing this work, and it's really uncomfortable, like super uncomfortable. But God's working on me. And so I mentioned overdrive and parked. I read this book called 5 Gears. I don't know who the author is, but there's an orange jacket cover on it. And he talks about that, what operating in all of these gears looks like. And, a car can only operate in overdrive for so long before it burns out. It just so happened for me, it was about 20 years. So, about that time, my daughter started having migraines and we went to everything. We had an MRI, praise God, she didn't have a tumor. We saw a neurologist, like a psychiatrist, a counselor, the dentist, the eye doctor, the ear doctor, and the chiropractor, and the massage therapist. We did it all. We saw a DO, we saw an MD. And we also at that time were doing some foster care training. And one of the things I learned is that when you experience trauma, whether it's acute, like one time, or it's long-term, that a child can get stuck in this emergency response system. So that's the fight or flight. If you guys know what that's like, someone jumps out of a closet, scares you, that's fight or flight. And God just said to me, you live this way. You live in fight or flight. And it's not honoring to me. It's not the best that I have for you. But it was the only way I knew how to operate. And then he spoke to my heart. I remember I was driving down the street and he said, it's all the reason why your daughter's experiencing these things, because she's modeling what she sees in you. And I was like, oh Lord, help me switch this. So I'm going to give you some practical things to think about when it comes to this. And I realize that some of you are not going to relate to this, but I believe this is timely, coming out of a period where we were forced to slow down and we were forced to stop. And we look forward and think, do I want to be the same? Do I want the same? Do I want what that looked like back then? I mean, we all want to go back to normal, right? But do we really want normal? Okay, so I have some thoughts. And one is, good enough is the biggest enemy of breakthrough. What I have is good enough, right? What I have is good enough, but that's the enemy of breakthrough. Like, my life was working 2 years ago, but it wasn't sustainable for my health and my relationships. Is it possible to have a thriving business and be in a hurry? I think so. Absolutely. Brooke is adopted by the brilliant Christy Campbell, and Christy said to Brooke, our purpose is to not work crazy, but work with focus. So there you go. So it's important for us to have a sense of urgency, but not panic. And I quickly can get into panic mode. Can anybody relate to that? I know some of you, like, your screens are off, but like, where you go, I set this goal. I have to see 30 faces. I have to see 30 faces. And then all of a sudden, people around you are going, ooh, but that's different than a sense of urgency, because a sense of urgency, there's an excitement that sucks people in instead of repels. What's interesting is my pastor about 2 weeks ago started talking about this. He started preaching a message called A Better Way. And he said, you guys, I hate slow. I can relate. Can anyone else relate? I don't go quick. I go quickly to the mailbox. I go quickly through my house. I go quickly to the car. And you might, if this isn't you, you might have a customer or a team member who operates this way. Thanks, Lynette. She's giving me a high five. I don't like slow. And Pastor Andy Stanley said something that really hit me like smack in the forehead just about 2 months ago. We want our kids to go faster. When they're little, they're toddlers, don't take your shoes off. I just put them on. Come on, get in the car. Hurry up. Hurry. Don't dawdle. Get in the car. Hurry. And he said, when we're to care for someone, kids, it could be your team. Sometimes they don't go the pace that you want, but it's important for us to slow down and meet them eye to eye, because someday you're going to need them to do that for you. I was like, oh my gosh. I don't want to create crazy quick monsters, out of my kids that don't want to take time to sit and visit with me in the near future. But he also said, you never read in the Bible a place where it says that Jesus hurried from here to there. It always says Jesus walked. It never says he skipped or, had walked or anything like that. It always says Jesus walked. Okay, so I forgot to grab this, but I'm going to tell you this really cool thing. About last fall sometime, I got a postcard in the mail from a town called Normal, Illinois. I think that's what it was. It's Normal. I have it framed right now. I need to look at it. It was written by a woman. It was like a little lady scrawl. I don't recognize the return address. She used her husband's return address stamp. And on the other side, the only thing that it said was, so the potter formed it into another pot. And that's a Bible reference. And I thought, well, who's she been talking to? Like, how did she know I needed this message? And that was, it was a turning place for me. It was it was God saying, I have a different way of life for you in this season. So I know that someone needs to hear this. I was at the leadership summit, what's it called? Leadership. I was at a leadership summit recently. I can't think of the name of it, but one of the speakers was talking about Global Leadership Summit. That's what it was called. One of the leaders was talking about how this Michelin restaurant, 5-star restaurant, they curate these dishes and you have to make reservations months in advance. They only make so many. And they were making the dessert to take out to the people in the restaurant. And the owner walks in, the chef is carrying a plate with this tart on it and drops it and panics. They only have so many. And the owner said that was the beginning of a vision for the deconstructed tart. It's one of the best selling items on the menu. And so that night, they turned from this idea, they had a new idea, a new vision. And so maybe that's what's happening in your world, in your business. What is that deconstructed tart for you? Is it learning how to do virtual meetings? Is it putting a system in place for your customers where they hear from you consistently, because that's not been in place before? What does that look like? So how do we stay in the urgent zone without becoming panicked? There were a couple times over the last year when I was watching my children do their school and helping them and thinking, how do I make this work? How do I see 30 faces over a computer screen? Because that's always my goal. And I panicked, you guys. And when I'm working in a panic, it's not urgent. And so I had to sit down and go, okay, let's regroup. So hunger is the antidote to fear. Hunger is the vision that drives your purpose. Fear is the panic that sets in. So if hunger is the antidote to fear, how do we become hungry in our businesses? For me, it's debt freedom, bottom line. We paid off our first home, upgraded, paid off our second home, upgraded. I'm talking to you today in my 600 square foot studio that I do all of my Mary Kay events in. It's always been a vision. We built it and now I'm paying it off. But that's always bottom line been what makes me hungry. It's also what I can go back to and say, this is why I'm working this month. Some of you, it's opportunities, it's trips with your family, it's the intangible things that you can pay for with your Mary Kay. Some of you, it's the phone bill, like I just want to pay for this bill, or I just want to do the house payment. So I will take you on a tour. You guys, when we're done, Lynette said, I need a tour. I'll turn you around and show you. So hunger is the antidote to fear. If you don't have a vision for your business, then talk to somebody, talk to a sister consultant, talk to your sales director, figure out what makes you hungry. To become a leader, we have to think like one, right? So we act like it, we get up like her, we dress like her. Mary Kay said, have a 6 most important things list. And then she left work at 5 o'clock every day because it was important to her husband. Every day at 5 o'clock. I read that in her book. So your 6 most important things list. Yesterday, I did not get my 6 most important things list done. I got the first 4 done and I got to move the other 2 to today and finish that out. Now, I'm a girl who likes to have a completed list at the end of the day, but that's why the 6 most important thing list helps us in our businesses. Having a weekly plan sheet. You guys, these are things you know every single week. Be disciplined enough to sit down, make a date with the person who it affects the most and show, you work on it first, but show that person, if it's a spouse, if it's kids, if it's a roommate, if it's people that are working in your office, whoever, if it's the babysitter, having a weekly plan sheet. The key is every single week. So I have a template, but I also have one that goes, I go in because, okay, and let me back up. I used to do my plan sheet on Sundays, but then I would get panicked about Monday because, like, oh, I have so much I need to do tomorrow. And then Sunday was no longer restful. So I moved it to Friday. Well, it wasn't much better because I had the weekend to worry about my week, right? So I moved it to Tuesday. So every Tuesday I plan the following week. That might seem a little crazy, but here's what happens, you guys. I can look ahead and go, I need a little window of time to go on a date with my husband or my kids, or I need help here. And so I have enough space between the things to get the help in place that I need, or to pre-profile or to confirm. I also use that time to look back at my previous appointments and say, who did I not book for a party? Who did I not book for a sharing appointment? And upcoming, who am I seeing that I want to be really intentional about having that conversation with? Some of my appointments, my goal is to love her well. Some of my appointments, I want to sell a skincare set. Some of my appointments, I want to book for a future appointment. We want to do all of those things, but I have to decide before the appointment, the absolute most important thing for that time and how I want to leave it. So every week, weekly plan sheet. I'm doing one thing every day to move our unit closer to Circle of Excellence. We're a Circle of Excellence unit. We love operating there. We love being there. We love playing there. I was telling one of our prospects today, she asked me, you know, what do I like most about Mary Kay? What do I like least? And I told her it's the people, but the story behind that is I mentioned, I went on a trip with some people, and it was kind of disastrous. And I came home and I shared with my mom, I said, you know, it was kind of a waste of time. And I'm just frustrated that I made that kind of investment because our time is precious, right? And she said, oh, let me remind you, you have grown up traveling with Mary Kay people. And Mary Kay people think differently and they act differently. They talk about different things. They operate differently. They wake up at different times. They spend their money differently. And so you do have to guard that, who you spend time with. And I love to spend time with my Circle of Excellence girlfriends. My unit loves for me to spend time with them because I bring that back. And so if you are, for example, a red jacket who has the desire to earn a car, move into DIQ, go sit in the car of your girlfriend who has one, ride around with her, see how she operates. She's in DIQ, watch what her schedule looks like, become her, dress like, act like, be her. Also complain up. On page 80 in Mary Kay's autobiography, she talks about this man that wrote her. So if you have her autobiography, you can check that out later. But she received a harsh letter from the husband of one of the sales directors. He believed they were completely wrong in their operation. And so she pulled the woman aside the next time she saw her and she said, you're making the same mistake I used to make. She used to tell her husband about every little problem and he would roll them into one huge ball and then think that everyone was hurting his dear, sweet wife. And so this woman later wrote Mary Kay and said, you were right. I stopped telling him and he loves this business. He loves it. And so it's just so important to complain up. And what I mean by that is complain to someone who's probably experienced it before, who's probably been there, done that, and is separated enough that they can laugh about it. You know, if you have a consultant who calls and says, I'm going to return my entire inventory, your directors probably had that conversation. And I remember Janet Tade telling me when they were, it might've been in NIQ, and someone was going to return this product. And because she'd been through this emotional cycle before, she was able to get on the phone with her and say, tell me more. And because of that conversation, this consultant or director ended up hanging on a little bit longer so they could go ahead and finish NIQ. You guys, it was a big deal. So complain up, be sure to complain up. Our job is to inspire, encourage, and remind the people in our circle, so our team and our customers, of their worth and their purpose. That part is so fun. We've forgotten about those things since, you know, in the last year. I just think sometimes we forget our worth, our purpose, and we get to inspire people into that place. And when we do, they want to be a part of what we're doing, whether that's purchasing a product or being part of the team goal, whatever. So I'm going to wrap up with this idea. Turn it off every day. That's something I had to do for myself. I have a little checklist. I got this from Tammy Craig, you guys. I love her. Our brains operate very similarly. But the very first thing on the list is you decide what time you're going to wake up and you write it in, wake up by. And when I started this in college, it was 7 a.m. because I lived in a sorority house and I was usually kept awake until at least midnight. So wake up at 7 and then the next line you write pitiful or powerful and you get to circle what you're deciding your day to be. I choose powerful. And when you do these things, it creates dopamine hits in your brain when you check things off the list. So the next thing was, and it was in any whatever order you want, get dressed, make bed, devotional, and coffee. And if you use a coffee pot, you could start it. And then you had the time between it starting and finishing brewing to spot clean your house. So if the toilet needed to be fixed or, you know, cleaned out because you were having someone come, that's what you did. If you need to fluff the pillows, and it was brilliant. And then you write 3 love notes, 3 to 5 love notes, and that could be to family, customers, birthdays, upcoming, whatever. If you've seen someone, there's a lot of things on Facebook. We can find something every day to write someone a note about. Loss, new babies, weddings, funerals, whatever. And then after the notes, it's 1 to 3 hours of IPAs. So if you don't have an appointment on the books, that's booking, coaching, selling, sharing, follow-up. If you do have an appointment on the books, you get to decide if that's your 1 to 3 hours of IPAs. So then the last thing is turn it off. And I had to write it out, turn off the Mary Kay switch, and then cross it off. And then what I would do is walk out my door and walk around the block and come back in the door and pretend like I was coming home from work. Now I had to put a filter on my phone that was a do not disturb so that after 5, I wouldn't return calls and texts, because you guys, there's no Mary Kay emergency. There typically is not a Mary Kay emergency, right? Like people can wait until the next morning to text you about an eyeliner. And I did that for long enough that now people don't reach out during that time. And if you set up your do not disturb, you can actually go in and pick you can pick who can phone through. So it's not everybody. Okay, so those are the thoughts. I feel like God gave me all these things as I added them to my notes. So I hope something that I shared with you inspires you, touches you, or that you can relate to it. And Jenny, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and I'm going to show you guys the lip oil because I promised I would. But I don't know if you open for questions, if anyone has one, but I'd be happy to answer.
Well, Ashley, I was writing as quick as I can because I think sometimes, I don't know, I know everybody has a lot of complaints from this COVID, whatever. Oh my God, Ashley, that's so fun. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that oil, girls. I'm telling you, it's not what I thought it was going to be. I don't know. Sometimes you hear oil and I'm like, I don't know. I didn't realize the kit would be like that. It is amazing. I'm selling them to everybody. I'm like, these, you have to just open one of each and use your little demo wand to make everyone try it, because it's not what you think. That's what I'll say about it. But one thing, I love what you said and what I took away, when everyone's like, oh, I hated this year, it was an awful because of COVID, blah, whatever, for last year and a half. I'm going to tell you, the thing I took away when I think about that is it forced me to slow down, maybe like Ashley said, in some ways, in aspects. Like I feel like our friendships got better, like the people we were kind of quarantining together. And I really took time because I wasn't running around or doing anything else. So I had more time at my house. And I was so grateful. I'm not grateful for the illness, don't get me wrong, but I'm so grateful for what it forced. So like I saw people eating dinner together that probably haven't done that in years, you had to get creative and do things with your kids outside in the yard that some parents never did that. Like I choose to take away from that. It put some values back. I know our world's kind of crazy, but I feel like it put some true values back that sometimes we just get busy and we forget about. And it's not that we don't think it's important. We're just so swamped, that we just forget to enjoy those things. And I totally agree that you have to have the turn off. It's hard when you love it. And so thank you, Ashley, for sharing that. Does anybody have questions for Ashley? I did record it, so I know for me, I'll listen to it a couple times. I always do that. And that way I can get more, notes. But anything they want to say to Ashley to affirm her for taking her precious time today to share with us with that huge goal that they have, that I hope that was okay, because Megan just put you on blast. She was like, she's told you how it was. So hope that's your goal, because if not, Megan says it is. Anybody have anything they want to share? And I'll have to give you a minute to unmute. Sorry.
Yes, I do. And I just wanted to thank you, Ashley, for your talk and what you did as far as everything. And when I was writing down some of the notes and everything, that I've already had it in my head, that I want to go ahead and help my husband with our house payment, because we did go ahead and refi, and we are trying to go ahead and get that all adjusted. And so what had happened was, this past couple of months, I've actually worked on getting our flood insurance lowered. And so now our house payment has gone down significantly. So at least that's a good thing. And so we start the new payment next month. And so he was thrilled that I was able to do that, because we had started paying the flood insurance when we bought the house and in 2010. And we started off at $1,000 1,310, I think it was when it started. Well, this past year, we had gotten a renewal for the flood insurance. It went up to 2,400. And it's like, there's no way. So God was gracious and helped me to go ahead and get that rectified. So now we are in a better place financially. And so now with this double credit that Mary Kay has this month, I am so excited. I missed Princess Quarter sales this past year. So now with this double credit, hopefully I can finish my star, and because I'm about less than 600 away from being a sapphire and working toward pearl. So I thank you so much, Ashley.
Wow, that's amazing. I love goals. You can absolutely do that. Does anybody else have any questions? I think Nicole posted, Ashley, you saw that, the organization tool. Okay, perfect.
I did. I'm going to show you guys the studio too before we hang up.
Yeah, show us. We want to see it.
I'm sitting on my exercise bike. I couldn't wait to get one as a star prize, so I already got it. That's the bike. Okay, so here we go. This is the studio, and it's set up. We have an event tonight. We have so many people coming. I have chairs on both sides of the tables.
That's so fun.
There it is.
That's awesome. So beautiful.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Yes. Okay. Well, Ashley, we love you and we appreciate you. And I'll get the recordings out, I promise, but the YouTube won't probably be posted till St. Maggie gets back Sunday, and she'll do it for me. And then we'll have that, but I'll have the recording one where they just have to type in the password and they can watch it earlier. If you have friends or power partners or team members that you think need something like this, because we're starting our new year, right? Why not get it going, girls? Because leadership's around the corner, and some of you have retreat in the fall, and you want to walk across your stage for that. So thank you so much, Ashley. I hope you all have an amazing Thursday, an amazing safe holiday weekend. Enjoy it, celebrate it, spend some time, gather your thoughts, and make your dreams happen. Thank you, girls. I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye, ladies.
Bye, guys. That was awesome.